I think the intellectual revolution that's going on now to restore liberty in this country is well on its way, and there's no way they're going to stop the momentum that we have started.
How can we continue the liberty movement? A prime and necessary condition for libertarian victory is education. The persuasion and conversion of large numbers of people to the cause. Education, in turn, has two vital aspects: calling people's attention to the existence of the libertarian system and converting people to that system. Libertarians must put forth books, articles, videos, and events. But these elaborations of the theory will get nowhere if nobody knows of their existence, which is why we also need to focus on publicity through social networking, radio, TV, magazines, movies, YouTube, etc. True education cannot proceed without theory and activism. Thus, just as theory needs to be carried to the attention of the public, so does the theory need people to hold the banner, discuss, agitate, and carry the message forward and outward to the public. Once again, both theory and movement become futile without each other. It is not only necessary to educate others, continuous self-education is also equally necessary for advancing the liberty movement. Educating ourselves accomplishes the goal of advancing and refining the ideas and purpose of the movement. We must advance the ideas of limited government, sound money, individualism, and peace. Tonight, I have gathered a group of liberty-minded friends to discuss the different ways of keeping the movement going. Welcome to Continuing Liberty. Shane, you can come up. And Shane, you're up. Shane.
Sorry about that, John. It just takes me a second. My computer's running just a little bit slow.
And Shane.
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
All right, man. Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, thank all you guys for coming to watch the show tonight and listen to the ideas that several of us have on continuing the message of liberty. I want to remind everybody that tonight's show is actually a part 2 show. The first half is Continuing Liberty, and that'll be part 1, and the second half is actually Complete Shanarchy. It's kind of a dual show. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Shane Lohre. I am the producer for Complete Shanarchy. So with that said, I promise that very soon there will be a much more beautiful person up here. So, and I'm not referring to Matt Larson. I've prepared a few thoughts that I'd like to share with you guys in regards to continuing the liberty movement. In the time that I've spent getting to know many of you in the liberty movement, I've been privileged enough to be part of many battles in which we have conquered together. Most of you would probably agree that, like me, you were amazed at the number of people that believe in the very same principles as we do. As the liberty movement men and women, we never expected the enormous support in which our cause has gathered. We have now gained the friendship and support of many nations around the world. This idea of liberty is and will continue to blazing a path straight into those around us. Through determination and education, we can strive to teach those who are still lost to find the path to freedom for those who have never known what freedom truly is. If we plant one seed, open one pair of eyes, expand one person's heart, what we have done and what we continue to do will make the difference that is needed. We must never give in, never stop teaching. As long as our lungs still have breath, we should never submit to tyranny. Be your own winter soldier. Don't be a part of the fight. Let's lead the fight. One way that I feel we can make a major impact in the movement is through making videos. The more videos that we make, the better our message will do. There was a joke actually in a chat that I was in earlier today, and the joke was, if we can only outbreed the people who believe in oppressing others, Well, I don't think that that's necessarily possible, but we can use that idea in flooding the internet with truth. Make it impossible for the average person to find a video that hasn't been created by us. Drive out the mainstream media with truth videos. Use their own material against them. People by nature want to search out the truth. However, the mainstream media has lulled them into this hypnotic nature where they just lose focus on anything. And basically they eat the story up and call it truth. But you know, we need to no longer be afraid to correct people when they spew these lies and regurgitate things that they've heard from the news the night before. You know, don't back down. As difficult as it is sometimes, you need to correct them and tell them the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, but the truth will always prevail. Another great platform that I use and have been using to spread liberty material is through a website of your own. There's many of them out there that are great, but another one definitely won't hurt the cause. And finally, you know, we should all be practicing what Ron Paul and so many others like him have told us. Spread the message. Thank you for your time tonight. I hope that my words were inspirational and educational for you all. And coming up next, a very funny man, Chris Cantwell. There he is, the comedian Chris Cantwell. All right, man, I'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. I know they kind of introduced me as a comedian here tonight, but I'm not really here to tell too many jokes. I mean, the subject being continuing liberty. You know, my next live speaking appearance is at Liberty Fest in New York City, and the subject of that is what's next for the Liberty Movement. And I figure I should probably talk about just that. I mean, how I see us going forward with this thing. You know, now that the Ron Paul campaign is over, and so many of us seem to be wondering what to do next. I mean, for me, the Ron Paul campaign was never about winning the presidency so much as it was about enlightening people about the nature of what government is, and why it is such a miserable failure at everything it claims to be trying to do. And in that light, I do think it was a nominal success. I mean, we've got thousands of new activists. The nationwide political discussion has undoubtedly been changed. And to more people than ever, freedom really matters. And I think that's the really positive thing. Unfortunately, the downside of that is that while more people than ever have finally taken the 20 minutes to actually read the Constitution, they still haven't identified yet what the government is. What is it? You know, can anybody here, anybody in the chat room want to tell me what government is? I'll watch for a little while, see if anybody has any interesting theories on that. Shanarchy, it's a piece of shit, very good. Or point of sale system, I'm not sure one. Criminal gang, there you go. Force, yes. Haha, yes, it's a joke. Tyranny, okay. I think that a lot of us are sort of on the same page here. And I mean, when I try to say to people who don't quite get that, I mean, what is it? Is it a building? Is it a document? Is it a person? Is it a group of persons? A tool? A weapon, maybe? What is this thing? And the answer to that question really is that government is nothing more than a behavior. Just like picking your nose. It's just a thing that people do. It's a stupid human trick conjured up by primitive men thousands of years ago prior to the discovery of written language. You know? I mean, prior to the wonderful age when silent films and radio were simultaneously the most popular forms of entertainment, man figured out that he could use violence to organize his society and force people to do what he wanted them to do. And that's just worked out so well that we've continued that tradition for thousands of years. And here we find ourselves in America 2012, and you have all these different people trying to figure out what's wrong with the government and all these different ideas on how to better grind the gears of the machine so that we can all be happy. All of those answers undoubtedly fail, and we still keep on asking ourselves how we can use the government to make us happy. And we keep on skipping over the point that government is nothing more than a violent and fraudulent behavior, and that no violent and fraudulent behavior is ever going to do anything positive. So that obviously, continues on with the problem, and how do we fix that problem? And the answer is pretty simple. It's the same way we fix drug addiction or self-mutilation or any other self-destructive behavior. We just stop fucking doing it. It's a ridiculous thing that we continue this behavior knowing that, no, we don't reduce the government. We don't use less force and violence or use force and violence more effectively. No, we stop using force and violence, initiatory force and violence to accomplish our ends. And I'm sure that a lot of you are saying, well, Chris, that's a lot easier said than done. Who will build the roads? And, we need a government. And what about the Constitution? And 1,000 other questions that I'm not going to have time to answer right now, but I'll try to get to some of them. And the first thing that really obviously comes up is how do you get rid of this entity? How do you get rid of the government? And the answer to that is pretty simple. It's just you don't do the behavior anymore, and other people are still going to do the behavior, and you're going to have to deal with the violence and the coercion that other people are going to put on you. But that only exists to the extent that you have to rely on those people. If you are a self-sufficient, productive person, if you're dealing with other self-sufficient, productive persons, then you don't really need a government to interact with in order to do things. The roads again. If the government hadn't created roads, I'm convinced that we'd all have fucking flying machines by now. You want roads when the government goes away? You can have them. Go ahead, build your own damn road. I'm buying a fucking helicopter as soon as I don't need a pilot's license. I don't understand why people are so obsessed with remaining on the ground when there's so many other possibilities out there. In any case, if as long as everybody wants to be ordered around at gunpoint, then there are going to be people stepping up to order us around at gunpoint. But if a significant enough minority within a given geographic area reject the idea and refuse to obey the authority, then the authority simply can't operate. It can't collect taxes. Any attempt to do so results in violence, and the very few people like seeing the violence actually happen. Government thrives because the threat of violence is enough to make enough people cooperate. If people are fighting back against it, it really doesn't work out people very well. Most people don't want to see violence. So when the government is going in and raiding houses and killing people and locking people up, the people generally don't like to see that, especially if the only question is, he didn't pay his taxes. So if the government can't collect taxes, it can't operate. You can print money for a certain period of time, but as we're seeing already with more and more people buying gold and silver, even at that, the inflation only works for a certain amount of time before that bubble pops and nobody wants to take the dollars anymore. Eliminate the IRS. Okay, eliminate the IRS, eliminate the Fed. What are the IRS and the Fed? They're organizations of the government. Get rid of the government, the Fed and the IRS go away. There's absolutely no use for them at that point. These are all arms of the government. In any case, no, they're not arms of the government. The Federal Reserve is an arm of the government. I'm sorry to tell you that, like, people say, oh, it's a private bank. Well, so is Bank of America. Okay, Bank of America is a private bank. Do you think that is anything other than an agent of the state? MetLife, all these insurance companies, they're agents of the state. They're so heavily regulated by government that you can't separate them from each other. If the government sets the rules, it's running the company. So they are all agents of the state. No, the state creates the Federal Reserve. I understand that they try to draw the separation, and the Fed pays taxes and stuff like that. But it is not. It is a branch of the government. If the government fails to renew the Federal Reserve's charter or pulls the Federal Reserve's charter, the Federal Reserve ends. If the government goes away, the Federal Reserve does not stay there. Okay. Anyway. Next, you're going to tell me we aren't a republic but a corporation. You're not. You're a statist society. It doesn't matter what you call your statist society. Okay, you say, okay, well, we're a republic, so these different rules apply to the force and violence applied against the citizenry. Well, no. A government is one of two things. It is either democratically elected or men take power by force. One of the two things is happening. And at the end of the day, if you call your government a republic and you elect your leaders, you are a democracy. You are being ruled by the masses. Okay, write a constitution, say whatever you want, it's all going to be the same thing. The people who want to get to power are going to promise the people what they want. In this case, it's the Obama phone! The Obama phone! Everybody minority in Cleveland got an Obama phone, right? You don't want this crap to continue, so what is the answer? You can't very well have people voting when the government gives away goodies, and you can't very well just have people in power without an election, so what do? You can't eliminate the election, you have to eliminate the power. It's a completely pointless argument to keep on trying to keep on operating within this system, you know? And the way that you do that is very simply, first of all, you have to accept the idea. You have to get over this idea that you need men with guns pointing them at you. You need to get over this idea that people have to tell you what to do, that there has to be some centralized, monocentric legal authority, as one person recently put it to me. If you get rid of that monocentric legal authority, then there is no system of oppression to be had. You engage in economics with the people that you want to engage in economics with. And if you don't want to engage with them, then you don't. And if they try to come after you, then you take out your gun. I don't have mine handy. I was going to get it out for the show. And you fucking shoot them. You hire other people with guns to protect you from the people. Okay? The Ron Paul libertarian limited government, you know, mindset here is that basically markets are capable of providing for every single service except for protection and transportation, apparently, because they still don't know who will build the roads. As if roads are just such a useless thing that nobody would ever build them in a free market, right? Nobody would ever pay for that service. But anyway, the main thing that has come about is the protection services, and I really would like to find somebody who could tell me what is it about protection services that make them to make the free market unavailable to provide for them. It's a ridiculous idea, and I run into it all the time, and no matter how many times I state the point, it never ends, and I don't understand why. The way of trying to solve this problem is to get people to, first things first, realize that there's no reason for a government to exist, that a government in fact does not exist. We don't have a government problem, we have an organized crime problem. We have an organized crime family that just operates with impunity. That's our problem, and we need market solutions to fight off the organized crime. And if you understand that government is nothing but a bunch of criminals who do violent things and murder millions of people overseas and lock millions of people up here, then if you understand that, then you're going to be a lot better off going forward. And when you're going forward, what do you want to do? Well, you want to be as self-sufficient as possible. You probably want to have a few months of food in your house. You definitely want to be a gun owner, and you want to be able to do things. You want to be productive in the marketplace. If you're living off of the government, if you're taking payments from the agents of the state, well, you're part of the problem. I know there are people out there who say, you know, starve the beast and take the money, and I did the unemployment thing for a while, but it's really not a good, it wasn't a good thing for me. I don't think it's going to be a good thing for you. Be self-sufficient, get away from them, and do what you need to do to make yourself happy, because the government is never going to do it. It doesn't matter if Ron Paul is president, it doesn't matter who does it. No matter who is at the reins of that coercive, oppressive, fraudulent system, it's always going to land in misery. And I don't see any other way of getting out of that. With that, is John Light here? Is he ready to jump on? No? Okay. Why don't you start broadcasting there? Okay.
I just wanted to introduce.
Okay, guys. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the round table.